All right, my people. Long time I don't read, so now, as always, a whole lot of things going on. Today we're going to call this episode of Just Reasoning. We can't do what they do. Um, it will become clear exactly what that means here in a minute. But what brought that to mind is a situation going on right now in Oregon. It's a bit of a complicated situation, but the long and short of it is that there are a group of people, a group of white men, who have taken up arms, guns, rifles, what have you, and gone and taken over a federal building in Oregon, protesting what they believe is an unjust action. The long and short of it is that two farmers in Oregon, they had a plot of land, they're leasing from the federal government and they set fires on there for whatever reason. The federal government had a problem with that and they brought charges against those people. This happened probably about a good 10, 15 years ago. But so they're protesting that action. But it's not just the fact that they're protesting that action. They have all rights to protest any action, as we all do, peacefully. But they are allowed to go and pick up guns and take over a federal building. Something, so without all the detail, here's the bottom line. They are opposed to something that the government is doing. So they have taken up arms and said they are willing to fight to the death, in order to showcase their support for this. And they're allowed to. So not only are they allowed to, it's been going on for a few days now. I don't think police have even gone to the scene. They're just allowed to do this. Now imagine a world where, this is why I said we can't do what they do. Again, these are a group of white men, ranchers in Oregon. Imagine a world where you have a group of black men, say 20 black men, go and take over the district attorney's office in Cleveland to protest the Tamir Rice situation. The Tamir Rice situation where the little boy with the, toy gun in the park, walking around playing with the gun, and police roll up and just kill the man, sir. Kill the little boy, sir. And nothing came of it because the district attorney decided that there wasn't any evidence that it was any wrongful action. So obviously that's nonsense. So imagine now if me and you and 20 more of our brethren say, you know what, we're going to go and storm the DA's office with our rifles, take over the office, and that's how we're going to show our opposition to it. Imagine how fast we'll be blown to bits. We can't do what they do. Imagine a similar world where you have, some American Muslims, right, who are protesting the wars in the Middle East, for example, and they decide they're going to take over an army recruitment office, with their guns, because that's how they show opposition. So imagine how fast that would be blown up, how fast they'll be blown to pieces. So I mean, when you hear the term white privilege, it's a real thing, I mean, it's just we can't do everything that they do. It's perceived differently. Right now with here in Texas, they just passed this open carry law where you can basically openly walk with a loaded gun. I believe it can be loaded in public, openly displayed. Right. So every time I see these open carry things, I know it's supposed to be anybody can do it. Sure. Every time you really see any of these demonstrations, it's a group of white men, and they're non-threatening. They're just patriots, all about their rights and their Second Amendment, and it's not an issue. I believe it would be perceived differently if you have a group of 10 black men walking with AR-15s in Walmart. You know, I mean, you have to just take my word for it. As we go back to the Tamir Rice situation, Ohio is an open carry state. So exactly what law was Tamir Rice breaking by having what was actually a toy gun? What law was he actually breaking? Having a gun out in public, right? When you carry these inherent biases into the situation, people just seem guilty already. By the color of our skin, we are deemed to be guilty. So, you know what I mean? We can't really do what they do. You know, there are countless examples of this. You know, this is just another one of them. I can go on about all kinds of examples, but as we sit here today is January 3rd, and you have a group of Americans who have taken over a federal building with guns, and the authorities have done nothing. Right now, we don't want this to blow up into some, you know, all-out war. Of course not. We don't want that. But why are they allowed to do this? I don't think we would be allowed to do that. You know, protest. You know, we have definitely our share of issues. Certainly, when it comes to, you know, the police shootings in recent years. Imagine if our response were to do that, bear arms and go and and take over a building. You know what I mean? You had in Ferguson and these places where you see protesters with their arms up, marching with police, National Guard, rifles pointed right at them. No weapons, nothing, they're just protesting. We can't do what they do. It's a different world. I believe all these authorities, everybody kind of brings certain biases into situations, right? But it's acted out, and we see time and time and again. I'm really, really curious to see how the situation is going to play itself out. I mean, it reminds me of I think it was last year, some ranchers in Nevada, similar, you know, land issue with the federal government. And, you know, the long and short of it is that, you know, the Clive and Bundy, it was on some federal land, and, you know, they feel feds have no, you know, jurisdiction in that area, so they kept the land, and you know, the feds wanted certain fees off it and all that. But skip all the details. When it comes down to it, when the authorities, the police came to deal with them, these people had their guns pointed at the police, laying down on bridges as snipers, long guns pointed at the police, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. What a mad world, man. That is it's so blatant. We can't do what they do. Just remember that. You may, you know, yeah, the law, the black and white on the paper says X, Y, Z. But remember, people carry their biases to situations. Police, FBI, these authorities, they carry their biases. So don't feel like you can be protesting something and you can grab up your gun and go and, you know, hold up some building because you're an American and you're a patriot and you're protesting. No. We will be going to your funeral. So, you know, I mean, this is America. This is our world. You know, for the foreseeable future, that's what we have to deal with. You know what I mean? So that's my reason on this matter. I honestly do hope that this Oregon situation ends with no bloodshed or anything like that, and it just peacefully ends. But, you know, double standard to the nth degree. Just reason next time we check here. One love.